As ICE agents continue making arrests at Houston immigration courts, immigration attorneys are advising those being detained they may still have a chance to remain in the country. 2 Investigates Robert Arnold has covered immigration and the border for several years now and is joining us live from our newsroom with that part of the story. Robert.
The arrest we showed you on Monday and Tuesday dealt with immigrants accused of illegally entering the U.S. less than 2 years ago and who were claiming asylum. President Donald Trump's administration said these immigrants were not properly vetted by the Biden administration, and he was revoking their parole to remain in the United States. Therefore, when a judge dismissed their cases, they were subject to expedited removal and arrest. Except immigration attorneys and immigrant rights organizations are now saying these arrests don't necessarily automatically mean these individuals are going to be deported. During President Joe Biden's administration, hundreds of thousands of immigrants accused of illegally crossing the border applied for asylum and were allowed to remain in the United States while their cases worked through immigration court. A critical component of asylum is proving you have a credible fear of being deported to your home country.
You have a real fear of returning to your home country because you have been persecuted in the past because of your race, religion, political ideas, national origin, or because you belong to a particular social group.
Immigration attorney Raed Gonzalez says one of the first steps in this process is the credible fear interview when an immigrant pleads their case to an asylum officer.
This is the step that the Biden administration skipped.
As 2 Investigates has shown you many times, the border became so overwhelmed during President Biden's administration, many immigrants caught illegally crossing into the U.S. were given a notice to appear in immigration court and did not have that initial credible fear interview.
They don't know that they have to remake the claim that I fear to go back home before an immigration officer, and they're not going to ask him.
Gonzalez said in the case of recent arrest, immigrants have the right to ask for a credible fear interview if they never got one, even if their case was dismissed and they were arrested. However, Gonzalez says if an immigrant doesn't know to ask for a credible fear interview, then they will likely be deported quickly.
We're trying to educate individuals so that they'll know their rights and what to do.
And in a statement to KPRC about the recent arrests, Department of Homeland Security officials wrote, if they have a valid credible fear claim, they will continue in immigration proceedings. But if no valid claim is found, aliens will be subject to a swift deportation. Historically, the percentage of asylum claims granted by the federal government was in the single digits. Under President Biden's administration, the percentage of approved claims spiked. Now, under President Trump's administration, the government is going back to a more strict interpretation of what is considered a valid claim for asylum. Live in the newsroom, Robert Arnold, KPRC 2 News.